What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and we're hearing that direct payments to people, stimulus provisions, money going out to everybody in the nation, amendments are being proposed right now to be added to the reconciliation bill that's in Congress right now. That's right. Senator Bernie Sanders is saying the stimulus reconciliation bill, there's no stimulus for the American people. We need to change it because this is going to be our only reconciliation bill this year, and we need to make it good. And right now, what Senator Manchin has agreed to, it's not cutting it. Now, also, I've got video footage on that, but we also heard from Republicans who are saying that this bill is not the Inflation Reduction Act. It's going to be the Inflation Enhancement Act. It's going to do the opposite of what they're saying, and they're saying this bill, we need to kick it to the curb. I've got video footage and articles to get you caught up on the latest. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, take a look, you guys. Articles coming out like this. Bernie Sanders criticizes Manchin's climate deal, calls for amendments, saying this needs to be changed. Bernie Sanders off the leash. Sanders tears into Manchin's surprise deal, saying it dropped a lot of the Democratic social programs like child tax credits, those monthly payments to parents. He's saying we got to add it back in. There's no provisions to help out the American people. Take a look. Senator Bernie Sanders slams the climate bill's tax breaks and subsidies for fossil fuel companies, saying you want to help out companies, but how about the American people? Now, take a look at this, you guys. I've got video footage we're going to look at in just a second, but let's dive into this Business Insider article very quickly. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont tore into the $740 billion climate, energy, and tax package that Democrats hope to pass within the next couple days. We heard they wanted to get this done this week. Now, he had said it dropped a wide range of Democratic initiatives at the core of a defunct $2 trillion House-approved Build Back Better Act. At a time when the United States has the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major nation on earth, this bill does not extend the $300 per month child tax credit that we had last year. Also, if you're a parent today paying $15,000 a year for childcare, the average cost in America, this bill ignores that crisis completely and does absolutely nothing for you. He also listed a ton of other provisions that have been cut out of the package. Take a look, you guys. Universal pre-K, Medicare expansion, tuition-free community college, in-home care for the elderly, and affordable housing all are not included, and he said this bill is extremely weak. Now, Sanders had long pushed for an expansive social and climate bill, which at one point totaled $6 trillion in spending over the course of 10 years. And you will recall that original proposal, he wanted to see those fourth federal level $2,000 stimulus checks, which he has reminded the president, you got to keep your promises. But he compromised on a bill half that size at $3.5 trillion, and now it's got cut down even more. And he's saying, listen, we cannot pass this bill. This bill is weak. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Now, we're going to be taking a look at the video footage, and as I mentioned, Republicans also have responded. Mitt Romney, you're going to hear what he has to say on this bill as well. Now, before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, smash the like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. I'll keep you up to speed on everything going on. And if you want to stay up to date, it's free. Why not? Come join the Ram fam. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions, join me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. Consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. And also, mentioned this in my last video, and if you missed that one, check it out as well, as we're hearing the president is issuing out executive orders. More on the way, we're hearing, with the passage of this bill, but that there is over 5,000 people now that have joined, added their email to www.reliefroadmap.com, where you're going to be able to access every stimulus check in the nation. A lot of people think there's only the federal checks. That's not the case. There's states, cities, and counties sending out checks all the time. I've literally got tons of them all across the nation. People don't realize it, but you got to be able to apply. You got to be eligible. You got to know about it. And it's really hard to track some of this information down. So for my viewing community, I want to make sure you don't miss out on anything. So if you have not already, you want access, go to www.reliefroadmap.com. Put in your email right away. So with that being said, though, you guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the video footage so you can see it for yourself. First, let's start off with Mitt Romney, what he has to say about this bill, and then we're going to take a look at Bernie Sanders and what he said about enhancing this bill and including more money to go out to the American people. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
So if you've been paying attention to the news lately, you've seen that there's a piece of legislation that's going to be done by reconciliation in Washington called the Inflation Reduction Act. By the way, if you believe believe it's going to reduce inflation, I have a bridge in Brooklyn I'll sell you. This is not about inflation reduction. This is all about Democrats spending on things they want to spend money on. I'm not going to support it. I don't think any Republicans are going to support it. Why is that? Well, it's another taxing and spending bill. And specifically, there are a number of things they're going to do that I think are pretty harmful. One is they say they're going to raise taxes on corporations by about $300 billion. You might think, well, who cares if corporations pay more? Well, the answer is you do, because corporations pass along to their consumers what happens when their costs go up. And so you could expect that this will result in slightly higher prices for the products that you buy. Not something that's a good idea during a period of high inflation. And then they're planning on hiring an extra 80,000 IRS auditors and agents. Think about that. They want to get $100 billion from the American taxpayers. They want to do that by having a bunch of auditors come after everyday Americans and see if they can't find some way to get more money from them. And then finally, they're planning on having the government set prices on drugs. Look, I don't like the government setting prices on anything. And you might think, well, but drug prices are too high. We're paying too much for our drugs. But there's a little wrinkle here, and that is that the prices that are going to be reduced are for the government purchases of drugs, not the individuals. So the government will pay less for the drugs that the government buys, but you're not going to pay less. In fact, the money the government saves on the lower priced drugs will be used to pay for some of the Green New Deal priorities that are also part of this bill. So I'm not going to be voting for this bill that Chuck Schumer has been promoting. I don't think other Republicans will as well. If you have any chance to make a call to any Democrats you know, you might tell them why it's a bad idea. Take care.
So there you have it, you guys. Mitt Romney saying he is not on board for this bill. And if there was any Republican that would probably get on, it would probably be centrist Republican Senator Mitt Romney. Now, if he's not on board, that means, like I said, probably no Republicans are on board. So as Bernie Sanders is going to be emphasizing here in this video clip, Democrats, they have got to unify, pass this through, and they got to make it good. He's saying they got to add amendments so that way they can push through whatever agenda items they feel like they want to get done before these elections. Now, we will see. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, this was a over 30-minute speech. I cut it down to about 10 minutes or so, so you're going to get some of the parts where he's talking about what's not included and how they have got to make this bill good. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Mr. President, my understanding is that the so-called Inflation Reduction Act may be coming to the floor in the coming days. And there are some people who think this bill is worth supporting. There are others who think that it is not. But whatever your views on this bill may be, let us be clear. As currently written, this is an extremely modest piece of legislation that does virtually nothing to address the enormous crises that working families all across this country are facing today. This reconciliation bill falls far short of what the American people want, what they need, and what they are begging us to do. Given that this is the last reconciliation bill that we will be considering this year, it is the only opportunity that we have to do something significant for the American people that requires only 50 votes and that cannot be filibustered. In other words, this is the opportunity, because on anything significant, we're not going to get 60 votes. So this, in my view, is a moment that should not be squandered. Mr. President, let us do what we too rarely do here in the Congress or in the corporate media, and that is take a hard look at the reality of what is going on in our country today. Very often we sit here and we argue about this, we argue about that, but we don't take a look at what's going on in America today, especially among working people and lower income people who do not have paid lobbyists here trying to get us to pass legislation to benefit them. People back home are just too busy working 50, 60 hours a week, trying to make it on Social Security, trying to deal with their student debt. They don't have the lobbyists here that the drug companies and the insurance companies and the fossil fuel industry has. What's going on in America today? For a start, in the richest country in the history of the world, half of our people live paycheck to paycheck. And because of inflation, a bad situation has been made worse. Millions of people today are wondering how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to buy the food to feed their kids, how they're going to pay off their debt. That is what's going on for half of the people in our country. I know we don't talk about them. They have no representation here, no lobbyists, no nothing, but that is the reality. Does this reconciliation bill address their needs? Does it raise the minimum wage to a living wage? Or do we continue to allow so many workers to try to get by on 10, 12, 13 bucks an hour? Does this bill make it easier for workers who want to join a union to be able to do so, or they continue to be attacked by their employers, making it hard to form a union? No, this bill does nothing to address that reality. Mr. President, at a time when tragically this country has the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, does this bill extend the $300 a month per child tax credit that was so important to millions of families last year? Does it address that issue? Does it say that maybe there is something wrong when millions of children in this country are dealing with hunger and with other basic human needs? No, not a word in this bill addresses that. Mr. President, in my state of Vermont and around this country, families are paying on average about $15,000 a year for childcare, if they are lucky enough to find a slot. $15,000 a year. It's 1/3 of the salary of a family making $45,000. I don't know how people can afford childcare. And meanwhile, childcare workers earn horrifically low wages and poor benefits. At a time when we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth, does this bill address the dysfunctionality of our childcare system? No, not a word. And again, this is a reconciliation bill where we only need 50 votes to make these changes.
So there you have it, you guys. That was Senator Bernie Sanders, just a small portion of his speech where he's saying this bill is not good enough. He's going to be including amendments. They've got to throw more provisions in to help the American people. Now, if he does that, though, is he going to be getting the support of Senator Joe Manchin, Senator Kyrsten Sinema, those moderate Democrats in the Senate that are saying we don't need to add any more spending? Is there going to be enough of an offset of this bill? They're saying it's going to reduce inflation to include more provisions to help out people. Let me know your thoughts. And also, whether this goes through or not, when will President Joe Biden issue more executive orders? We saw him just do one yesterday for the abortion rights. But what about the economy, which we're hearing is the #1 top concern for the American people at this time? 80% of people polled say we need to address inflation, a potential recession, stimulus, everything happening in our economy right now. Economic concerns is the #1 top thing on Americans' minds. So we will see, you guys. I will keep you up to date, but that is the latest. And as more information rolls out, I'll be sure to keep you up to date. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. And keep an eye out for that comprehensive list if you have not already. Add your email to www.reliefroadmap.com. Going to be sending out a tester email to everybody very soon, so that way you know that you're on the list and that you're going to have access very soon. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.